These are the protagonists.
The people who are going to play out the story of Antigone for you.
That's her, over there.
Antigone.
That thin little girl not saying a word.
Just sitting there thinking. What's she thinking?
That any minute now, she'll have to become
Antigone.
To somehow break the bounds of what she once was, the rather pale and withdrawn young girl who no one in the family really takes seriously, and become
Antigone.
Who must rise up and face the world. And Creon, who is her uncle, who is the king.
She's thinking that she's going to have to die, and that she's young and she'd rather not. But she's Antigone, and that's the part she has to play.
And she has to play it to the hilt. Ever since the curtains rose, she's been feeling what? A sort of distance. A distance growing and growing at a giddying rate. But not just between her and her sister Ismene. That's Ismene over there, the one chatting and laughing with that young man. But also between her and us. Between her and those of us that are quite content to sit here and watch her. Quite content because we don't have to die. But we do. And not necessarily tonight.
the young man I mentioned earlier. Yes, him. The one talking to the pretty girl is Ismene, Antigone's sister. He's called Haman. He's the son of Creon and Antigone's fiancée. It's rather odd that, because he's much more Ismene's type. They both share taste for fun and parties, for happiness and for success, even for sensuality.
If you haven't noticed, Ismene is much more beautiful than Antigone. But there was that one night, a while back, the night of the ball, where Haman was dancing with Ismene, and only with Ismene. And who can blame him? She looked so ravishing in her brand new dress. But that was the night, nevertheless, when he disappeared in search of Antigone. He finds her as you find her now, sitting, dreaming, hugging her knees. Then he asked her to marry him, just like that. No one quite understood why. So she looked up at him with her great big serious eyes, and quite unsurprised, and with a hint of sad sweet smile, said quite simply, yes. And then the orchestra struck up a new number, and there was Ismene, laughing, dancing, and surrounded by young men. And there was Haman. And guess what? He was going to be Antigone's husband.
Of course he never knew that Antigone would never have a husband, and all that princely title would earn him was the right to die.
That larger man over there, the one with the gray hair sitting next to his page, lost in thought. That's Creon. He's the king. His face is lined. He's tired. He has to govern, to rule men, and it's a tricky business. It's exhausting. In the old days, when Oedipus was still alive, he was merely head courtier. He used to love music and books and beautiful things. But then Oedipus and his sons died. So he abandoned his library and his antiques, rolled up his sleeves, and got on with the job. Sometimes, in the evenings when he's beside himself with fatigue, he wonders if it's all a waste of time, a vain pursuit, trying to rule men. A rather sordid occupation, better left to the lower order, like looking after beasts. But then, come the morning, he sees things differently, more pragmatically. These are nothing more than problems, he thinks. Precise problems to be precisely solved. And so up he gets, and calmly starts his day, as any worker would.
The older lady over there knitting. No, not her, that's the nurse. She brought the two sisters up. Up there. That's it. That's Eurydice, Creon's wife. She'll be named throughout the whole play until it's her turn. Her turn to get up and die. She's a good woman, Eurydice. Noble, loving, but she can be of no help to Creon. He's all alone. Alone apart from his page, who's far too young to be of any help either.
That thin little girl, all on her own, right up against the wall, the messenger. She's the one who'll have to announce Haman's death not long from now. You'll notice she's not mixing or chatting with the others. That's why she knows.
Who else have we got? Oh yes, those three red-faced guards over there. They're not a bad bunch. They have their wives and their kids and their worries. Quite soon you'll be seeing them go about their business, seizing people, taking them away to their death, that sort of thing. They're completely devoid of imagination. They're just simply tools of justice. And for the time being, that means Creon's justice. But then again, they'll arrest anyone. Should the need arise, sure the order be given. But that'll happen too.
And that's it. That's everyone. Now they act out their stories for you. Of course, the story began before. There's a history. There's always a history. Oedipus, late king, had 2 daughters, whom I've already met. The called Ismene and Antigone. But he also had 2 sons who aren't actually here because they're already dead. They're called Eteocles and Polynices. And when their father died, it was decided that they were to both share the throne of Thebes, each ruling a year to meet in turns. Perfectly reasonable, but not to them. Well, what happened was that Eteocles, the older brother, had refused to give up his year once, the throne once his year was out. So, civil war. Polynices brought reinforcements. That was over now. Both the fathers are dead. And Creon is king. And Creon has decreed that Eteocles should be given a state funeral, whereas Polynices will rebel. The man who dared to raise arms against Thebes should be left to rot without a headstone. And that anyone at all who should try to give him a proper burial should be condemned to death. That is his decree. So there we have it.
Where have you been?
Just out walking.
Walking.
Yes, I saw for a stroll and it was lovely. So lovely and gray. You wouldn't guess it now, it's gone all pink and green and yellow like some gaudy picture postcard. You should really get up earlier if you want to see the world during all its color.
I get up early enough, thank you very much. I get up and I go to your room to see if you're still tucked up, but you're not. You're up and out and off somewhere.
I think the garden was still asleep. It's funny, I think I took it rather by surprise. That's what's great about gardens. Get all about us.
I went to the back door. You left it ajar, that's how I knew.
It's as if everything were waiting. The fields, everything, wet and waiting. Silent. And I really felt quite embarrassed for making such an unholy record on the pavement. Because I knew it wasn't me they were waiting for. So I slipped off my sandals and into the countryside, imperceptibly.
Be sure to give your feet a good wash before you go back to bed.
I'm not going back to bed.
It's 4 in the morning. Not even that. And I get up and I go to your room to see if you're still tucked up, but you're not. The bed's quite cold with no one inside.
Do you think it's always that beautiful? That thrilling? The thrill of being first out of doors in the morning.
What do you mean morning? It's the middle of the night. And what are you saying? That you just went out for a stroll? Little fibber, where have you been?
You're right, it was the middle of the night. I was the only one who thought it was morning. Wonderful to be the only person.
That's right. Speak in riddles. Go all poetic on me. You don't fool me for 1 minute. I was young once, just like you. Don't think I don't know all the tricks. So tell me, you bad, bad girl, where have you been?
I'm not that. I'm not that.
You were seeing someone, weren't you? Deny it.
I can't. I was seeing someone.
You've got a lover, haven't you?
Yes. Or him.
This is brilliant. Oh, this is perfect. The king's daughter. You work your fingers to the bone to bring them up, but push comes to shove, they're all the same. I didn't think you were like that. Oh, I really didn't. You're never primping or preening yourself, never trying to get yourself noticed, so you were never like that. I used to say, come on, darling, make an effort. Hair like a bird's nest, always the same old dress. Your sister Ismene, on the other hand, with her ringlets and her ribbons, oh, she turned all the boys' heads. And I used to think I'll never get you off my hands. But now I see the truth. You're as bad as your sister. You're worse, because you're a hypocrite. So tell me, who is he? Some rough boy, I bet, some bad boy. Some boy you can never bring home to the family and say, this is the boy I love, oh, this is the boy I want to marry. That's it, isn't it, you little slut?
Yes, Nana, that's it.
And she admits it. God help us, each and every one. I promised her mother I'd make a decent girl of her, and now look at her. But don't think you've heard the last of this. Oh no, you may think I'm just your nurse. Just an old servant, just an old chattel. But your Uncle Creon will hear about this, I swear he will.
Yes, Nana, my Uncle Creon will certainly hear about this. Now leave me.
Leave me, she says. I'll have a thing or two to say about it. What about Haman? Your fiance! Your fiance! Oh, 4 in the morning, she's engaged to be married, she's out doing God knows what.
Please don't shout, not this morning.
Not shout. I'll shout it from the rooftops. I promised your mother I would keep you pure. What would she say if she were here? You stupid old woman, that's what she'd say. Oh, you stupid old woman. Sure you fed her, ran around after her, kept her warm in the winter, but you didn't keep your eye on the ball, did you? Come 4 in the morning, you're fast asleep, and she's off and out and up to her mischief. And by the time you can be bothered to check on her, the bed's already cold. That's what she'll say when I meet her face to face up there. And I'll die of shame if I wasn't dead already. Because what could I say to her apart from, yes, Madame Jocasta? Oh, it's all true.
Nana, please don't cry. And it's not all true. You'll be able to look her in the face, as I'm sure you will. And she'll say, thank you, Nana. Thank you for all you did for little Antigone. She knows why I went out this morning.
So you haven't got a lover?
No.
So it was what? A joke? I'm too old for jokes and for games. You were always my favorite, in spite of your bad character. Your sister was always nicer to me, but I knew that you really loved me. But if you loved me, you wouldn't lie to me. So tell me truthfully, why was your bed stone cold when I came to find you?
I'm still pure, I promise. And I have no other lover apart from Haman, my fiancé. I'll never have any other lover. I promise you that too. So save your tears, Nana. You'll have need of them soon. Believe me. When you cry like that, I feel like a little girl again, and I don't need to be little. Not this morning.
You're up already? I went to your room.
Yes, I'm up already.
They're both as fast as each other. What are you doing? Running around for the servants? Can I remind you both that you're princesses? There are standards. Running around, you'll catch your deaths.
All right, it's not cold, it's summer. Go and make us some coffee. Please. Some coffee would really do me good.
What am I thinking? She's wasting away for want of a hot drink. I'll make breakfast.
Are you ill?
No, just a bit weary. I did get up rather early.
I didn't sleep very well either.
That's awful. You've got to stay beautiful.
Don't make fun of me.
I'm not. You are beautiful. You always have been. I now find that somehow reassuring. Do you remember when we were little, I was so unhappy? Perhaps that's why. So I used to chuck mud at you and put worms down your back. And one time, do you remember? I cut you all your hair off. All your beautiful hair. I was jealous. I mean, it must be nice not to have to think such stupid thoughts with all those beautiful curls coiled up around your head.
Why are you avoiding the issue?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
Yes.
I was up all night thinking about it,
Yes.
and we can't do it.
Why not?
He'd have us put to death.
Well, yes, absolutely. He'll certainly do that. We all have our parts to play. Ours is to bury our brother, and his is to have us killed. Those are our roles. What can we do about them?
I don't want to die.
Well, it's not exactly what I want either.
Listen, I've been going over it. I'm older than you. I reflect on things. You just do whatever pops into your head, and if it's a mistake, well, then there we go. I like to weigh things out. I like to think about things.
Sometimes it's better not to think too much.
Is it? I know it's all ghastly and all a mess, and I'm sorry for my brother, but I do partly understand my uncle's point of view.
Well, I don't want to partly understand anything.
He's the king. He has to set an example.
Well, I'm not, and I don't. I'm the bad one, remember? Naughty Antigone, who's sent up to her room or made to stand in the corner. And serve her right. Serve her right for being so disobedient.
Typical. Look at you. Your frowning, blinkering little face. You just do whatever you want and don't listen to a soul. Well, listen to me. I'm right more often than you
I
are.
have no desire to be right.
Then at least try to be reasonable.
Reasonable! I've been hearing that word since I was tiny. Be reasonable. Don't touch the water. Flowing water. Beautiful water. Be reasonable. Don't just play with the earth. You'll only get it on your clothes. Don't bolt your food. Don't give all your money to the first beggar you see in the streets. Don't run until you drop. Don't drink water whenever you're thirsty. Don't bathe whenever you feel like it. Be reasonable. Well, I don't want to be reasonable. When I'm old, I'll be reasonable. If I ever get old. Not now.
Stronger than we are. And the whole city is on his side. Thousands of people all swarming the streets of thieves.
I'm not listening.
The mob is murmuring, and the murmur will grow. Thousands of voices and arms and hands. Thousands of angry faces that'll spit in ours and will be dragged through their hatred and their stink to the scaffold. And the guards, they'll be waiting with their stiff necks and their stupid, fat, obedient faces, ready and willing to do exactly what they're told, be it good or ill. And we'll suffer. God, how we'll suffer. We'll feel the pain growing and growing till it's unbearable, but it's not when it stops. It carries on, getting stronger and stronger, rising to a piercing scream. And I can't bear it. I can't bear it.
You have been thinking it through.
Yes, all night, haven't you?
Yes.
I'm such a coward. I've always been a coward.
So have I. What's that got to do with it?
Don't you want to live?
Do I want to live? You're joking. Who's always the first up? First to feel the fresh morning air on her skin? Who's always the last to go to bed, only sleeping when she drops so as not to squander a single moment of the night? Who was it that used to cry when she was little? Because there are too many plants, too many animals, too much of everything for her to know them all.
My little sister.
No, don't touch me. Don't stroke me. We'll only both start sniveling. You say you've been thinking it through. The whole city howling for our blood. The pain of torture. The fear of death. That's made up your mind.
Yes, it has.
Fine. Fair enough. It's as good as excuse as any.
Antigone, listen to me. It's proper for men to believe in ideas and die for them, but you're a girl.
Yes, I know that. And I curse the fact every day.
You're young, you're beautiful.
I'm not.
Well, not like everyone else, but differently. None of the boys can take their eyes off you, nor can the girls, you know that. They just stare at you until you've disappeared from view.
So I'm popular with boys and girls then. Brilliant.
And with Haman, what about him?
I'll talk to Haman this morning. I'll take care of Haman.
You're mad.
You've always said that. You've always said I'm mad ever since ever. Go back to bed, Izzy. It's daylight now, so nothing can be done anyways. By now, my brother will be surrounded by an armed guard as if he actually succeeded at becoming king. Back to bed, you're dead on your feet.
Aren't you?
I've no desire to sleep. But I'll still be here when you get back. Nana's making me some breakfast. Come on. You look so sleepy, your eyes are little dots.
That's it, isn't it? I'm starting to talk you around, aren't I? Will you let me speak to you again?
Of course, I'll let you speak to me. I'll let you all speak to me. Go back to bed, Izzy. I have to stay here.
Here we are, little one. It's a nice hot cup of coffee and some warm buttered toast.
I'm not really that hungry.
I made it just the way you like it.
That was sweet of you. I'll just have something to drink.
Do you hurt? Tell me where you hurt.
Nowhere, Nana. To keep me safe and warm. You've always been so strong. Stronger than the nightmares, stronger than the fever, stronger than the scary shadows of the bedroom wall, stronger than death. Hold me like you used to by my bedside.
What's wrong, little one?
Nothing. It's just that I'm still a little too little for everything. But don't tell anybody.
What do you mean, Petal?
It's nothing. And you're here, so everything will be all right. I'll hold your strong hand, and that'll make everything all right. Nana? You know my little dog.
Yes.
Promise not to scold her too much.
She shouldn't be allowed in the house. She gets her filthy paws everywhere.
Even if she misbehaves. You promise?
Not watch her chew the place to bits, not say a word.
That's right.
If she wheezes on my carpet.
Even if she wheezes on your carpet. I beg of you, please don't scold her. And please talk to her, as much as you can.
What, talk to a dog?
Yes. When other people talk to dogs, talk to her like a person, like I do.
And why wouldn't you be able to do it yourself?
Don't you think that it seemed like she was still waiting around, her nose jammed under the door like when I leave the room? Might be better, to have her killed? Just to put her out of her misery.
To have her killed. To have your little dog killed. What madness has gotten into you this morning?
No madness, Hannah. Here's Haman. Go now and don't forget your promise. Haman, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I'm sorry we had a row. It was all my fault. Please forgive me.
Don't be silly. I forgave you the moment you left the room. The moment you slammed the door, so as you know. Your perfume still hanging in the air and I've already forgiven you. Who'd you steal it from? That perfume.
From his meeting.
And the lipstick? And that powder? And that beautiful gown?
All of hers.
And in whose honor did you make yourself so beautiful?
Yes. Darling. How stupid I was to waste a whole evening. Such a beautiful evening.
We'll have other evenings.
Will we?
And doubtless other rows. So part of that.
Time. Yes. Listen, Haman.
Look at me. I'm all ears.
I don't want you to be joking this morning. I want you to be serious.
All right. Being serious.
Hold me tight. Tighter than you've ever held me. I want to be stamped through with your strength.
There you are. It's all my strength.
It's good. It's nice. Listen, Haman.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you that, the little boy we're going to have,
Yes.
I would have protected him from everything.
No.
I would have held him so tight, he'd never have been afraid. Never, ever, not of anything, not our little boy. And all right, his mother would have only been tiny and never combed her hair. He'd be better off with her than any other real mother. Any big bosomy flower apron mother. That's right, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love it.
You would have had a real wife, wouldn't you?
Already.
Haman, you loved me, didn't you? That night?
What night?
The night of the dance. You're sure you weren't looking for some other girl? Or have you ever regretted it? Or deep, deep down, you never wished you'd rather ask his name?
Don't be silly.
I mean, you love me, don't you? Love me as a woman. Are your arms just lying there when they hold me? Your hands, your big strong hands, do they mean it when they touch my back? All of you, the smell of you, wonderful warmth, confidence that flows through me when I nestle my head. All that's meant, isn't it?
Yes, Antigone, I love you with the whole of me. None of me can lie.
But I'm skinny, aren't I? Scrawny, swarthy. I am. Minnie is pink and golden, as lush as a peach.
Antigone.
I know. I'm blushing, ashamed of myself. And I wanted to tell you that I will be very proud to be your wife. Your wife whom you would just touch, just casually as you sat down to dinner. Casually, absent-mindedly, as if you were touching a possession. Right. Now, there's two things I have to tell you. And when I'm done, you are to leave at once without even saying a word to me, even if what I say seems odd or strange or hurts you. You promise?
Where are you going to
No. No, first promise me you'll leave without even looking at me. Please, Haman. You can see I'm asking from my heart. If you love me, you'll do that. It'll be the last mad wish you'll ever have to grant me.
Very well, I promise.
Thank you. Right. Let's begin with yesterday. You asked me just now why I came to you wearing his Manie's gown and her lipstick and her perfume. It was foolish of me, I agree. But I wasn't really sure if you wanted me, really desired me. So I did all that to make myself more like other girls so you would want me more.
Is that right?
Yes. And then you laughed at me, and we had a row, and my bad side got the better of me, and I ran away. Till last night, I came to you so you would take me. So I could be your wife before I was your wife. Haman, please, you promised. And anyways, I'm going to tell you, I wanted to be your wife because I love you. I love you so much. I'm sorry, my darling, because this is going to hurt you. But I'm never going to marry you. Haman, if you so much as take another step towards me, I promise I'll throw myself out this window. I promise, Haman, on our little boy's life, the little boy we're going to have, the only little boy I'll ever have. So just go. Go now. Tomorrow you'll understand. Perhaps sooner than that. Please, Haman. It's all I ask of you. You love me. That's Haman dealt with.
Oh, there you are. I couldn't sleep.
Here I am.
I was worried you might go out there and try to bury him, even in broad daylight. We're all here in Antigone, and we need you, and we love you. Me, your sister, Haman, Nana, your dog. We're all alive, and we need you. All right. Colin Macy's is dead. He never loved you. He was always a stranger to you, a bad brother, so forget him, Antigone. We have let his ghost stalk the world, unburied and unworn, for that is Creon's law and his trump when you are. You always try to take on the whole world, but remember you're only tiny. Please stay here with us and don't go out there tonight.
You're too late. When I met you this morning, that's where I'd been. Burying our brother.
Antigone!
One of the guards sending watch over the body? Show him in.
Jonas, sir, 2nd Battalion.
What do you want?
Well, sir, we drew lots to see who should come and tell you first, and, well, I lost. So, here I am. We figured that one person should come and tell you so as to not leave the body unguarded. You see, normally there's 3 of us, sir.
What exactly are you saying?
That there's 3 of us. Not just myself, but Durand and the corporal.
So why aren't I talking to the corporal?
You know, that's exactly what I said, because, you know, that the corporal should come and tell you, because obviously the highest ranking officers should, but no, they wanted to draw lots, and I lost. Actually, you want me to go ahead and get the corporal?
No,
Because
no. Since you're already here, speak.
Right, sir. It's just that, I've been in the service 17 years, sir. Volunteer. 1 medal, 2 citations. I'm a guard. I'm a soldier. That's what I am, and that's what I do. I guard, and I follow orders. To the letter. No, people always say, you can always rely on Jonas.
Excellent. So why are you so scared?
So normally it would be the corporal here, sir. No, actually, I'm due for corporal. Hasn't come through yet. In June it should be.
Look! Speak, will you? If something has happened, then all 3 of you are equally responsible. I really don't care who tells me.
Right, sir. Of course, sir. You see, the thing is, it's the body. Now, we've been guarding it. No one can say we haven't. It's just that we had the early shift, which is the toughest shift. That early shift, the worst shift, that is. Thanks a bunch, we say. Thanks a lot. Oh, right. And it was cold, so we were just standing there, you know, shivering, stomping our feet to keep ourselves warm, and not sleeping. Absolutely not sleeping. I can promise you that. Because I was there next to the body the whole time, because, you know, I'm there following orders. I'm meticulous. I'm like that. That's why people have always said, you can always rely on Jonas, because I am the best thing. Wait, what? It was me who raised the alarm, sir. I saw it first.
The alarm? Why?
It was the body, sir. I mean, someone had scattered over it. I mean, well, not completely over, because there was 3 of us, and not enough time to completely cover, but it was covered enough to hide from the vultures.
Are you sure it wasn't some animal?
No, sir, or rather we had hoped. I mean, the way the earth was scattered, it was someone who knew what they were doing. It looked like it was for a funeral.
Who would dare spit at my guns? Were there any signs? Any clues?
No, sir, not a one. Okay, well, maybe a footstep, but it was, if ever, it was light as a bird's. But, Durand did find a spade A rusty spade, like a kid's spade. Actually might have been a kid. But we did keep it for you to look at.
Oh. A kid. A kid. You see how it is with these people? You take their opposition and you smash it to bits. And yet it still grows. All of Polynices' friends all have their gold lodged here in Thebes, and I won't let them get their hands on it. And suddenly, all the leaders of that stinking mob are allied to all the princes and the priests, and they all want a little something for themselves. And a kid. I can see him now. The hired, tough little face of a child killer, tucking his thrusty spade back into his jacket pocket. Some child that they brainwashed, young enough and rash enough to spit at my guns. And then guess what? His innocent little blood is on my hands. And he's martyred for the cause. What a godsend for them. Perhaps he wasn't working alone, though. Perhaps he had accomplices. In my guard, even.
Oh, no, sir, please. We did everything by the book. Okay, Duran might have sat down for half an hour because his feet were tired, but I was here the whole time, sir. Ask the corporal.
Who have you talked to about this?
Nobody, sir, not a soul.
Listen to me. And listen carefully, because these are your orders. We're going to go back to the body and send the relief guard away. And you will take the next watch.
Yes, sir.
You must watch the body. And not a word to a soul. You have been negligent, and be sure that you will be punished. But not yet. And if anyone hears from your voice that Polynices' body has been covered over, all three of you will die.
No, sir, please. We did everything by the book. We haven't told a soul. Okay, maybe except since we've been here, the other two may have told the relief guard, but please, sir, please. I've got a family. I've got just 2 young children. The youngest is still tiny. Look, you can be my witness, sir. If anyone talked, it couldn't have been me, because I was here with you the whole time. You're my witness.
Go. And if no one hears of this, you may yet live. Come along. Now we have to tell everyone the whole story to clear up this mess. Would you die for me? Yes, of course you would. Without a qualm. A kid.
So there we have it. The spring is rolled up nice and tight. That's what's nice about tragedy. The slightest touch of a finger, the flick of a feather, will set it off.
You just sit back and watch it go. It's a well-oiled machine in perfect working order. It's been up and running since the beginning of time.
Death is a part of it. And so is betrayal, and so is despair.
It's neat. Tragedy is neat and tidy. And relaxing in a funny sort of way. Now, drama's different. Drama's something else.
Mustachioed villain.
Damsels in distress.
Dashing young heroes.
Last-minute revelations.
She didn't have to drink that poison.
He could have rushed in 5 minutes earlier with the police in tow.
Tragedy's calm. There are no sudden surprises in it. Promotes a sort of team spirit among the protagonists. They're on it together, you see.
He who kills is as innocent or as guilty as the victim. It's all a question of what part you play.
So ultimately, tragedy is almost stressful, because there's no hope, and there is nothing more unsettling than hope, is there? In drama, people struggle and argue. It's a practical choice, you see, and rather vulgar. In tragedy, to argue is noble. It's kingly, and let's face it, there's not a lot else you can do.
Come on, miss. Don't make a fuss, please. You can explain it all to the boss later. I've got my orders, and that's that. Everyone's got their reasons. Everyone's got their excuses, but I don't have time to listen to them, so I don't listen to any of them. Keep hold of her and shut her up. Whatever it is she has to say, I don't want to hear it.
Tell them to let go of me. They're hurting me. I am Antigone, daughter of Oedipus. I won't run away.
The daughter of Oedipus. You sound like those whores we pick up that say they're friends with the chief of police.
I don't mind dying, but I do mind them touching me.
But what about dead bodies, huh? And mud? You don't mind touching them, do you, huh? And what happened to your little spade this time? Had to use your nails this time, did you? Bloody nerve. So I turned around for 1 second to ask my maid for a cigarette. And just when I popped it into my mouth, there she is, clawing at the ground like a hyena, in broad daylight. Oh, and look at this. When we try to pick her up, she's kicking, screaming, scratching my eyes out, saying, "Let me finish, let me finish." She's mad.
I arrested a mad woman like that the other day. She was showing her ass to passerby.
Oy.
Mad.
There's gotta be a drink in this for us.
Oh, I should hope so. More than one.
Hey, we have the day off on Sunday. Let's celebrate. Shall we take the family? Nah. Let's make it just us. We'll have a laugh. I mean, we don't want the wives nagging away and the kids running around, do we?
Perhaps it'll be a reward.
Perhaps. Should be. It's important enough.
Flinchard. You know Flinchard from the 3rd Battalion. When he nabbed that arsonist, he got an extra month's pay.
An extra month? In that case, we should go to the Arabian Palace. Eh?
What? For a drink? You're mad. Have you seen the prices? Okay, so if you're going up for the girl, going upstairs for the girls, fine, great value. I'll tell you what. Why don't we go out for a drink elsewhere, then we can go to the palace afterwards? Remember the girl there that one night? You know, the fat girl.
God, you were drunk that night.
Trouble is, if we get an extra month's pay, our wives might find out because there might be some ceremony or something.
Hey, we'll wait and see. I mean, look, if there's gonna be some speeches and a ceremony, then yeah, we'll have to take the family. But afterwards, we can go out and have a night on town afterwards. It'll be nice.
We'd have to book ahead, though. It'll be a big party.
Could I just sit down, please?
Let her sit down, but do not let her go.
Let her go? What are you thinking of?
Oh, we're the watch, sir. All 3 of us came this time, sir.
Who's watching the body?
The relief guard, sir.
I told you to send them away. I told you not to say a word.
We didn't, sir. We didn't tell a soul. But look, when we arrested her, we thought all 3 of us should come this time. We didn't draw lots. See?
Idiots! Where did they arrest you?
By the body, sir.
What were you doing by your brother's body?
What was she doing? That's why we brought her in. She was out there trying to cover up the body again.
Do you realize what it is you're saying?
Sir, ask the others. When we got back, we uncovered the body a bit, but the sun was up and it was starting to smell a little, so we stood a ways away to stay upwind. When we thought no one's going to try anything in broad daylight, I just turned to my maid to ask for a cigarette, and just when I had said thank you, there she was, just scratching at the ground like a hyena, in broad daylight. We picked her up, she was fighting like a tigress, and kept screaming how the body wasn't covered yet.
This is true.
Yes, it's true.
And the first time last night, was that you two?
Yes, it was me. The little spade I used to play with by the seaside. It used to belong to Polynices, who's carved his name into the handle. That's why I left it with him. But the knave took it, so the next time I had to use my bare hands.
Go with them, and make sure they don't say a word until I come.
You two, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Did you tell anyone about what you were going to do?
No,
Did you meet anyone on your way out?
nobody.
Are you sure?
Quite sure.
Listen, you're to go back to your room and say that you're ill, and that you haven't been out since yesterday. Your nurse will say the same, and I'll deal with them.
Why? You know full well I'll do it again.
Why were you trying to bury your brother?
I owed it to him.
I had forbidden it.
Even so, those who are not buried will wander forever and never find rest. If my brother had ever, during life, if he'd ever come home from the hunt exhausted, I would have taken off his boots, got some food ready for him, and his bed made. Well, now Polynices is home from the hunt. He's home to where my mother and father and even Antigone are waiting for him. He has the right to rest.
He was a rebel and a traitor, and you know it.
He was my brother.
You heard my decree. It was proclaimed in the market square and posted on every wall.
Yes.
You knew the punishment for any person found to be giving him a proper burial.
Yes.
You thought, you being Antigone, daughter of Oedipus, heir to Oedipus's stubborn pride, you were somehow above the law.
No, I didn't think that.
The law was made for you, Antigone. Laws are expressly made for the daughters of kings.
Even if I were a scullery maid and I'd heard that he had proclaimed in the middle of doing the washing up, I'd still have dried my hands and gone out into the street still in my apron.
Nonsense.
And gone to bury my brother.
Nonsense. If you had been a scullery maid, you'd have known I'd have you killed, so you'd have done nothing. You'd have stayed for your brother at home and wept for him there. But no, you thought, I'm Antigone. I'm Creon's niece. I'm betrothed to his son. Come what may, he'll never have me killed.
On the contrary, I have always known you would have me killed.
That's right. Oedipus' stubborn pride. All over again. That's you. Merely being human it's never enough for your family. You always have to go head to head with destiny and death. The highlight of your father's whole life was to hear that he killed his father and slept with his mother. He drank it in, greedily, drop by drop. And then what better than to gouge out your own eyes and go begging with your children on the common high road? It's glorious destiny. But we'll have no more of that. Those were dark days for Thebes. The darkest. Thebes deserves a king without a past. And if tomorrow some bedraggled messenger comes in from the mountains or God knows where and tells me there's some big question mark over my birth, like what happened with your father, I simply send him back to where he came from. I wouldn't dwell on it, and I wouldn't speculate. I wouldn't bother asking my wife any potentially embarrassing questions. And that's because I'm king. And kings have better things to do than indulge their own private feelings. So you listen to me. You may be Antigone, daughter of Oedipus, but you are only 20 years old. And it wasn't so long ago that this sort of nonsense was dealt with a spanking and you being sent back to your room with no tea. Goodness. Having yourself killed. Look at yourself. You're too skinny. Get fatter, preferably with Haman's child. Because that'll be of more use to Thebes than your death. Think about it. And while you're thinking about it, go back to your room. I've always liked you, no matter how difficult it may have been. I gave you your first doll, remember? And it wasn't that long ago either. Antigone, that's not the way to your room. Where do you think you're going?
You know full well where I'm going.
You don't seem to realize that if anyone, apart from those three idiots, finds out about what you've been doing, I'll have to have you put to death. But if you give up on this madness, and it is madness, I can still save you. But 5 minutes from now, I won't be able to. Do I make myself clear?
I have to go and bury my brother's body again.
Ooh, what's that again? You must know that there are new guards around the body, and even if you manage to cover them up with a few bits of dust, they'll simply scrape the earth off. And then what would you have achieved? Apart from bloody fingernails and you being sent back here.
Nothing but that, I know. It's all I can do, but you have to do what you can.
Do you really believe in all of that? All of that mumbo-jumbo? Do you really believe that your brother's soul is doomed to wander for all eternity but for a few handfuls of dust and some tired old nonsense mumbled by some old priest? I mean, have you seen those priests? Trotting out last rites, whizzing through as many as they can so they're not late for lunch.
Yes, I have.
And this is why you're throwing away your life, is it? Because I've denied your brother that absurd pantomime. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You're right. It is ridiculous.
So why do you do it? For the others who believe that sort of nonsense, to raise them against me?
No.
So not for the others, and not for your brother. For whom then?
For nobody. For me.
Oh. You must really want to die, don't you? You look like some poor animal caught in the trap.
Don't touch me. Don't soften. Be strong. Do what I'm doing. Do what you have to do. And if you're human, do it quick. I can't be this brave forever.
I want to save you, Antigone.
You are the king. You can do anything you'd like. Except that.
Really?
You can't save me. You can't stop me.
Proud little girl. Just like Oedipus.
You can only do one thing. Have me put to death.
What if I have you tortured?
Why would you want to do that? You know what happened. I'd scream and beg for mercy and say anything you wanted. And when the pain had finally stopped, I'd simply begin again.
Listen to me. And listen carefully. You cast me as the villain of this piece, and you yourself as the heroine. And you know it. But don't push too far. If I were a tyrant, I'd have had your tongue torn out long ago, and you'd been drawn and quartered and thrown into a ditch!
Let me go. You're hurting me.
No. I'm stronger than you. I want you to know that.
Ow!
Perhaps it's what I ought to do. Pinch you, pull your hair, playground stuff. You're still child enough. And sure, I may be your uncle, but we've never been a particularly affectionate family, have we? So don't you find it funny that the old king, who can put to death whomever he wants, and has, and will, is trying so hard to keep you from dying?
You're pinching too hard. Doesn't hurt anymore.
God, you're a pest! You know that? God knows how. And God knows I've got enough to do today. But I will save you. When you've just put down a revolution, you've got lots to do. Lots in the intrigue. Fine. Fine. You're right. I like things to be nice and tight. Nicely scrubbed and shipshape. Do you think it disgusts me any less to have his body rotting out there in the noonday sun? I mean at night, when the wind comes off of the sea, you can smell him in the palace. But I never close my window. I want all of Thebes to smell that putrid smell for a month at least.
You're disgusting.
I know. I have to be. It comes with the job. One can always discuss whether something should be done or not. But if it has to be done, it has to be done to the hilt.
But why are you doing it?
One morning, I woke up and I was king of Thebes.
You could have said no.
I could have. But it would have seemed like a workman refusing a job. And it wouldn't have been honest. So I said yes.
You know, you're much too sensitive to be a tyrant. But you'll still have me killed. You know you will. Soon. That's why you're scared. There's nothing uglier than a man who's scared.
That's right. I am scared. I'm scared of you not giving up on this madness, of having to have you put to death. It's not what I want to do.
It's not what it is to be king.
That's precisely what it is. So take pity on me and live. Isn't your brother's body rotting underneath my window payment enough for law and order in Thebes? My son loves you. Don't make me add your life to the bill. I've paid enough.
No. You are the man who said yes. So now you'll pay, and you'll go on paying.
For the love of God, please try to understand! I've tried to understand you. There has to be one man who says yes. There has to be a captain of the ship. There has to be someone at the wheel. Particularly when the crew is refusing to work and they're looting the cargo. And the mast is beginning to creak. And the wind is howling. And the sails are beginning to rip and the officers are getting ready to jump ship. And everyone is going to die. Because it's every man for himself. So if anyone refuses your orders, you shoot blindly into the crowd. Do you understand?
I am not here to understand. That's what you do, not what I do. I am here to say no to you and to die.
You must despise me. I've always imagined having this conversation with some pale-faced young man who tried to assassinate me. But I never imagined having this conversation with you. Certainly not over something so petty. But I want you to be sure. Sure of the part you're going to play, as it were. Sure of why it is you're going to die. Do you really know the sort of little story you're about to sign your name onto? In blood?
Story.
The story of Eteocles and Polynices. The story of your two brothers. You think you know it, don't you? But you don't. I'm the only person in all of Thebes to know it. But it seems to me that tonight, you have the right to know too.
What do you mean?
Firstly, what do you remember of your two brothers? Probably that they hated you. And they would never play with you. That they would mutilate your dolls and had a sea of whispers you were never party to.
They were older.
And you were in awe of them, weren't you? And they started to wear long trousers and go out in the evening. And later still, when they started to smell like men and ignore you.
I was a little girl.
And you'd see your mother crying, and your father getting angry. You'd hear the distant sounds of voices raised and doors slamming in the corridor. And then they'd walk right past you, thoughtless, braying and stinking of wine.
I do remember. One time, I watched them as they were coming home. I hid behind a door. It was morning. I had just gotten up. They were just getting back. Polynices saw me. His face was pale, but his eyes were shining. He looked so handsome in his evening clothes. He looked to me and he said, "What are you doing here?" He gave me a big paper from his night out.
And you kept it, didn't you? And I'm sure, yesterday, before you went out, you found it in your bottom drawer. And had a good long look at it to give you courage.
Who told you that?
Oh, poor little Antigone. She kept the flower. Do you know who your brother really was?
I know you're going to say horrid things about him.
A feckless, vapid little rich kid. A hard, heartless little carnivore. All he was good for was spending his money on fast cars and nightclubs and girls. One time, I remember him talking with your father, but just refused to pay off his gambling debts. A big sum it was, and Oedipus just refused. Just said no. Said he'd had enough. And your brother's face went pale. And he shook his fist at him, and he swore at him like you would a servant.
That's not true.
And then he struck him! Just punched him in the face. There was your father. Blood running down his face, and weeping. It was terrible. And your brother, giggling and lighting up another cigarette.
No, it's not true.
Remember, you were only 12 years old at the time. And you didn't see him for a long time after that. Isn't that true?
Yes, that's true.
Well then, after that little rough-up, your father didn't want to punish him. So he sent him off to the Argive campaign. And as soon as your brother was in Argos, the attempts on your father's life began. all of the would-be assassins said who had incited them, who had paid them, as it were. And it was him. Your brother. Not all the time, but mostly. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. To show you what goes on in the background, below the stairs, in the kitchen, in the wings of this drama you seem so keen to star yourself in. Yesterday, you'll remember I organized a state funeral for Antigone, and all of Thebes was out in force. School kids smashed their piggy banks and offered the contents to the crown. Veterans and pensioners, fired with false emotion, praised him in tremulous voices. So loyal, so faithful, what a good son to the king. And that's the irony of it, isn't it? What I'm trying to tell you is, Antigone, the perfect son, the paragon of virtue, was no better than Polynices. The good brother had been plotting too. Plotting to murder his father and sell Thebes to the highest bidder. And it just so happens that, quite by chance, your brother had gotten there first. So I had their bodies found on the battlefield. And when we found them, you're not gonna believe this. They were in each other's arms. Probably for the first time in their whole lives. Impaled on the other sword. After which, the cavalry had ridden right over them. Left quite a mess, as it were, and didn't exactly leave them recognizable. So I had the more presentable of the two corpses hailed for my state funeral, and ordered the other be left where it lay. And to be honest, I don't know which was which. To be frank, I really don't care.
Why did you tell me that?
Would it have been better to let you die for a pathetic lie?
Perhaps. I believed it.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going back to my room.
Don't go alone. Go and see Haman. Get married as quickly as you can.
Yes.
What we were just talking about really is quite besides the point. You have your life. You have that treasure still. And to think, you're going to throw it all away. I understand that. I'd have done the same at 20. Life isn't what you think it is. Life is like water, and the young let it run through their fingers. Cup it, and keep it safe. You'll learn for yourself, probably too late, that life is a book that one loves. It's a child playing at your feet. It's a comfy chair one can sit in and watch the sun go down. And you'll despise me even more for saying this, but it's one of the few consolations of old age. Life consists of nothing more than the happiness we can get out of it.
I laugh at your smugness, Creon. Thinking you could alter my purpose by telling me vile stories about my brothers. Or change my mind with your impotent platitudes about happiness.
That's right. You're just like your father.
Yes, just like my father. That's the family. We ask questions and we won't rest until all of them have been answered. Until all hope has been strangled out with our bare hands. When we come across your beloved hope, we spit on it, we stamp it out, it's disgusting!
Shut up! Look at you, screaming! Do you have any idea how ugly you are?
Yes, I am ugly. Father was ugly too. But Father became beautiful. And do you know when? At the very end, when all his questions had been answered, when there was no doubt in his mind that he had to die if the plague was to be lifted from his people. When there was no doubt left that he had killed his father, that he had gone to bed with his mother. When all hope was gone, stamped out like a beetle. Then he was at peace. Then he could smile almost. Then he was beautiful. Whereas you, Creon, look at yourself. The candidate to the election for happiness. The glint of fear and suspicion in your eye. The crease at your ugly, power-loving mouth. You said the word a moment ago. The smelly kitchen of politics. That's where you were fathered in wealth, in a filthy kitchen!
I ordered you to be quiet!
That's very odd. The kitchen boy giving the orders? It's usually the other way around.
There are people next door. Do you want them to hear you?
Perfect! Open the doors! I'd love them to hear me!
For the love of God, shut up!
Go on, kitchen boy. Call your guards.
Antigone!
What do you want?
I've come, Antigone. I've got the courage and I want to go with you.
Where?
Creon, if you kill her, you'll have to kill me too. I was with her. I helped her bury Polynices.
No, no. Not that. Not now. Not you. It has to be me. It has to be just me.
If you die, I don't want to live. I don't want to be left behind.
You see, Creon. Her too. It's infectious. And the others who hear me will catch the disease. What are you waiting for? Have me silenced. Come on, Creon. Have a bit of courage. It'll only take a moment. Go on, kitchen boy. Do your work.
Guards! Take her away.
Antigone! Antigone!
You're mad, Creon.
What?
Why do you die?
She had to die.
Creon.
Don't let Antigone die.
We will all carry the scar, all of us, for centuries to come.
It's what she wanted. None of us were strong enough to dissuade her. But now I understand. It was her destiny to die. And perhaps she didn't even know it. And perhaps Polynices was merely a pretext, and if we had given in, she had merely found another. Because that was what was important to her. To say no and to die.
She's just a child, Creon.
What would you have me do? Condemn her to life.
Father!
Haman, my boy, I did everything I could. I did everything I could to save her. I promise. She doesn't love you. If she loved you, she would live. She is more in love with madness and with death.
But Father, they're taking her away. Can't you stop them?
I can't. She's already spoken. And now the whole city knows the story. I have no choice but to put her to death.
Isn't there some other way?
You could say that she's gone mad and have her locked up.
No one would believe me. They say I'd saved her because she was to marry my son. I could do nothing.
Isn't there some other way of praying for more time?
Or banishing her.
The mob knows everything. And they're howling for blood. I can do nothing.
But Father, the mob is just a mob. You are the master here.
I'm master under the law, not above it.
But I'm your son. You can't let them take her away from me.
I can. Even my boy, I can. She's spoken. She's already left us.
How do you expect me to go on living without her? Every day, every morning, every evening, every hour in between without her. How do you expect me to put up with you and your posing and your posturing and your emptiness without her being here?
You have to accept it, Haman. There comes a time in every person's life, sooner or later, for better or for worse, when they have to become a man. And for you, that day is today.
The giant of a man
that tower of strength that used to protect me when I was afraid of the dark. Was that really you? The forbidden smell of the evening, the bread and the lamp, and you take me into your office and show me your storybooks. Was that really you?
It was.
All that care, all of that pride in me. Is that what that was leading to? To make a man out of me?
That's right.
It's not right! It's not fair. We don't have to agree to this. It doesn't have to be today. You still have all the power here, just as you did back then. Please, Father, let me admire you still. Let me revere you. Just like I did back then. The world would be far too barren. I'd be far too alone if I could at least do that.
You are alone, Haman, and the world is bare. Look at me! Judge me. Good. Because that's what it means to grow up. To see your father for how he really is.
Antigone! Antigone!
You'll go mad, Creon.
Yes. Poor boy Hebrew. He loves her.
Creon, something must be done.
I can do nothing.
But he's wounded to his very heart.
So are we all.
So it's you, is it?
What do you mean, me?
The last man I am to see?
Apparently.
Was it you who arrested me earlier?
Yep, that was me.
You hurt me. You didn't have to do that. Did it look like I was going to run away?
Miss, please don't start. I had my orders. It was either you or me.
How old are you?
39.
Got any children?
2.
Do you love them?
None of your business.
Listen. I'm going to die soon. Think it hurts? Dying?
I can't really say. I mean, I know some people in the war, they got a bayonet to their gut, and that hurt. But me, I never got so much as a scratch, which is probably affecting my prospects for promotion.
How would they help me do that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I heard someone say that they didn't want to stain the city with your blood, so, they're gonna wall you up in a cave.
Why?
At first.
Cave. That'll be my tomb. That'll be my marriage bed. All alone.
That's just what I heard. Look, miss, if you do need anything, just let me know and I'll send out for it.
No. All I'd ask is that you'd give someone a letter for me when I'm dead.
What do you mean a letter?
A letter which I'll write.
A letter? Oh, you're really pushing it. I can't go around delivering letters. It's really more than what my job is worth.
What if I give you this?
Is it gold?
Yes, it's gold.
If I get searched and this is found on me, that's a court-martial straight away. But what I can do, I could write in my notebook what you would have said in that letter, tear the page out of the book. If it's in my writing, wouldn't be the same.
Your handwriting. No, that would be awful.
Fine. No skin off my nose.
No, keep the ring. And quick, write this.
Hmm?
I'm afraid we don't have much time. Quickly. Ready? My darling.
For the boyfriend, eh?
My darling. I had to die. Perhaps you won't love me anymore.
Love me anymore.
It may have been easy for you to choose life. For me, it was not.
Choose life.
Now it's all so dreadfully here all alone, and I'm afraid, and I don't even know why I'm dying.
Hey, slow down. How fast do you think I'm riding here?
Where are you?
To accept life, I don't know what I'm afraid if
No,
I don't...
no, scratch that, scratch that out. No one does know that. It'd be if I were naked after I was dead and they were all touching me. Just scratch it all right out and, right, forgive me.
Scratch all that out and just write forgive me.
Yes, forgive me. Life would have been so much easier for you had it not been for Antigone. I love you.
Had been so for Antigone. I love you. Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
What kind of letter?
Yes, it is.
Who should I address this to? Oh, right. Off with you. Enough of your nonsense.
And there we have it. That's the end of Antigone. Now it's Creon's turn. They all get their turn.
The queen! The queen! Where's the queen?
What do you want with the queen? What have you to tell her?
Terrible news. Antigone's been thrown into the cave. They were pushing the last blocks of stone into place when Creon and the rest heard a terrible moaning coming from inside the tomb. Everyone stopped and listened, for it wasn't Antigone's voice. It was a different voice coming from the depths of the cave. Everyone looked at Creon, and he guessed first. He knew before anyone else, and he started yelling like a madman, "Take the stones away! Take the stones away!" And the slaves leapt at the wall of stone, and Creon worked with them, sweating, his hands bleeding. Eventually they forced a narrow opening, and the thinnest of them slipped inside. Antigone was in the tomb, hanging by the cord of her robe, and Haman was there, kneeling by her, holding her in his arms and moaning, his face buried in her dress. Eventually they moved more stones so Creon could climb in. You could see his white hair against the blackness of the tomb. He tried to lift Haman out, he begged him, but Haman wasn't listening. Then suddenly he obeyed. He looked at his father and didn't say a word. And suddenly he spat in his face and drew his sword. Creon leapt out of harm's way, but Haman kept looking at him without saying a word, plunged his sword into his own chest, and lay down next to Antigone, holding her as tight as he could in one enormous pool of blood.
Had them laid out next to each other. They're together, at last, and at peace. I've had them washed. They're still pale, but they look calm enough. Two lovers, the night of their wedding. Their story is over.
But yours is not, Creon. You have something more to learn. You already see that your wife, the queen...
A good woman! Always busying herself with her knitting. Always knitting something for the poor.
Well, Creon, the poor of Thebes will be cold this winter. When she learned of the death of her son, the queen finished the row she was working on, cast off, and calmly put down her needles. And then she stepped inside her room and cut her through. Even now, she's laid out on one of your old-fashioned twin beds. And if it weren't for the spreading red stain on the bedsheets by her neck, you'd think that she was still asleep.
The queen, too. Seems they're all asleep. Must be nice. It's been a rough day. It must be good to sleep.
And now, you're all alone, Creon.
Boy,
Yes, sir.
I'll say this to you, the others. You don't understand. If there's a problem, you can't just shove your hands into your pocket and ignore it. And yes, they're right, it is dirty work. But
Someone has to do it. Don't they?
Oh, no, sir.
Right. Of course you don't. You're lucky. You're in quite a hurry to grow up, aren't you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, don't be. You can't grow up, you're mad. We had something at 5 o'clock. What did we have at 5 o'clock, remind me?
Council meeting, sir.
Right, of course. A council meeting. We mustn't be late, must we?
And that is pretty much that.
And it's true. Life would have been much easier, certainly more peaceful had it not been for Antigone.
But that's all over now, and they do all seem to be at peace one way or another.
And all those who are to die have died.
All those who believed in one thing, and those who believed the opposite. And even those that had no particular opinion either way, but were somehow caught up in the net of history.
All dead, all stiff, all useless, all rotting.
And those who are still alive will gradually forget the dead, even forget their names.
It's
all
all
over.
over. Antigone is at peace tonight, cured of God knows what fever.
She has done her duty.
And so a great sad calm descends on Thebes, and on the empty palace where Creon begins to wait his own death.
So there's no one left, really. No one but the gods, and they don't give a damn either way. It's no skin off their noses. They just go on playing cards.
Playing cards.
Playing cards.
Playing cards.
Look at the setup. Post-it notes.
I can sign programs for anybody who needs